There we go. Developing relationships, strong and long lasting relationships. How do we do that? Well, that's the discussion today on Tomato Talk Live. There we go. Yeah, that's right. Talking about relationships. How do we develop strong and long-lasting relationships? I'd like to thank my wife for bringing up this topic today because it's an important one. Seriously, if you are part of an organization you want to support, how do you know it's something that makes sense for you? How does that organization grow? How does that organization develop other relationships? Just saw that post actually not too long ago. It came up with regards to Toastmasters. Where do you start if you really want to grow that club? You want to grow the organization. You want to grow yourself. Where do you start with that whole thing? And I mean, where do you start with that whole thing? Is that something that you truly want to get behind for your own benefit, or is it just for the club or the organization's benefit? Equate it with whatever you like. When it came to dating a long time ago, it's the same kind of thing. Are you looking for when you meet somebody? You're looking for a long-term relationship, or are you both on the same page, or at least in the same book, as I like to phrase it? When it comes to figuring out, where you might be 20, 30 years from that point in time, that's a toughie, is it not? Right. Very hard to go figure that out if you're both going to be on the same page. Business partnerships, same thing. Same thing. You start a business with a friend of yours, right? You both have the same interest in creating widgets. You like building widgets, right? We could use something a little more specific. Let's go with this photography, right? Photography. You want to start a photography business with a friend of yours. You're both good with the camera. Is it something that makes sense? Does it make sense? Got to have big time conversation with it. But you got to have a big conversation on what you think that this business might turn into from a long term aspect of it. Well, it's just going to be both in the same age group and stuff like that. But do you both have the same visions of where you want to go with it? Maybe someone's into corporate photography, the other one's more into weddings and events. Maybe somebody's more into the idea of nature photography. Maybe somebody's expectations, your partner's expectations on it, a little less than business related. Want to provide value more than income, where the other one might want to generate income more than value. How do you know? It's a long and a deep conversation that needs to take place with that. And it takes place with so many things. Now, obviously, if you're going out and you're hiring somebody, it's a little different, than that aspect of it. You want to make sure that they have the references and the reviews, and maybe you get a personal referral from somebody, and you kind of know, in that respect. But it's a one-off. Look, you hire somebody to do some work, whether it's in your business, your house, you're hiring them for a job. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And look, so many times it doesn't work out. But there's a lot of other things that we go into that we really are looking at that long-term aspect of it. Is this something that truly makes sense for everybody? So let's take that business partnership into account. How do you know? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's years of schooling in psychology to go figure it out. Maybe that'll help. Maybe it's understanding where that person's coming from. Now that might really help their why. Why are they going into photography? What are they looking for on a long-term basis? What are they looking for that business to actually look like and be? Is it secondary income, primary income? All those kind of conversations. So how do you figure that out? Conversation, always a good thing to do. But when you're sitting down, you're talking to each other, sometimes we filter comments. We sitting there, we may have a personality where we just don't want to disagree with the person right off, or maybe you like to consider things for a little bit more than just a quick conversation while having a cup of coffee. Oh, that sounds like a good idea. And then you think about it. It's like, well, maybe that's not exactly what I was looking for. Maybe we're looking for something a little bit different. And then you're filtering your comment, whereas do you bring it up then? Or if that other person is chatting away, do you let them keep going on because you'd prefer to listen and learn rather than speak and tell? Well, that's why that one meeting, maybe not so much. And even second, third, maybe it helps. I think it would, but if you need to make a quicker decision on something, how long are you going to talk for? How long are you going to talk for? So here's an idea for you. Why don't the two of you jot down a business plan? Or if the other person's got a business plan and you're looking to partner with them and they got something going, already, in place and they're looking to bring somebody else on, or you're looking to bring somebody else on, why don't you ask them to write out a business plan? Maybe write out a marketing plan. Maybe mark out some sort of referral basis plan or something like that. The point is that if you can ask them to do that and they put that together, I think then, excuse me, I think then you're going to learn something from that person where they've had the time to think about it, where they can contemplate their own thoughts, where they can see and communicate out, their own objectives by things that they've said and not said as their plan has kind of evolved. So obviously, if you're looking to bring somebody on to help you grow the business because you're the great photographer, you're the one, you love the camera, you're fantastic with the whole thing, but you know that you need to get out there, you need to market more, you need to bring in more business. But boy, when you get that chance to sit down and do that wedding or do that corporate event or hire to do photos for somebody's brochure or website or whatever your talent is, but you need to hire somebody that could really help you out on the marketing side of it. I'll have them draw up some sort of a marketing plan. You want to be nice, you could even pay them for it if you want to go that route, or figure out a way that you're not the person doesn't feel like they're taking advantage of you by asking them to do something for free. Then again, that might just tell you who that person is too. if if they're not willing to do that. Now, maybe that's a little indication there that the person might be a challenge to work with, or they just have a real strong opinion as to how it is. And then now you got to decide whether or not this is something that you want to, or this is the kind of personality that you'd be comfortable working with. Oh, yeah. You wind up in a partnership where the two people are exactly the same. That's not really going to help. It's just not going to help. You're both going to agree that you're both going to agree with each other's ideas. And you're just going to keep on running with it. Is that a relationship that's going to be long, strong, solid relationship? You might be best of friends forever. But if that relationship is there to help that business, that organization grow, you need another opinion. We need to be able to listen to other opinions. Somewhat of another topic. We seem to have a problem with that one of late. But you need to be able to hear the other person's point of view. So allowing them to go and do that. And if they're going to say, this is absolutely how we do it. Well, you're hiring the expert to bring in and to come up with ideas. You know what? Okay. And maybe you really should be paying for something like that. If it's a partnership and you want to get an idea about their personality, asking something like that. Just be, look, it just keep it in mind though, right? I remember on some interviews that I've been on, uh, past places and things like that. It's like, what are your long-term goals and stuff like that. It's never really asked, how to go about and do it, but what they really were, from a personal and business standpoint, it's insightful. I think if you're on the other side, uh, maybe some of the questions I could have asked were what their expectations were. I guess then that depends whether or not you're getting past the first, second interview, with different groups of people. But if you're taking on a partnership, you're getting through that first or second interview, because, well, if you're doing it and you have an interest in the person, you definitely want to continue on with that one. So keep it in mind, though. Look, you don't want to ask somebody to give you an 80-page marketing plan on your business and not be serious about the relationship, be serious about what you might even want to give that person, for doing it. Maybe it is a matter of paying them something, regardless of whether or not the relationship goes anyplace or not, because that's a lot of time, energy, and effort. Maybe just a little synopsis. I think that's kind of fair. I definitely think that's fair. And then you'll see how much that person wants to share or not share, how trusting or not trusting they are of you, and how that figures into your longer term relationship with them. All right, what about these other organizations? Oh, the nonprofit. That's a business side of it. But what about the nonprofit side of it? I'm very involved with the Toastmasters organization. So I'm going to use them a real life example over here. Real life example. So Toastmasters, the way it's set up, or the way I look at it, let's put it that way, is we have the club. I'm a member of the club, vice president of marketing at the club. That's my role at the club, besides being a member, giving speeches and stuff like that. Big believer in Toastmasters, big believer in the people inside of Toastmasters, maybe even more so than Toastmasters itself, but it's those people that are there. Reason is, so is that if you join an organization that's designed to help you become a better speaker, a stronger leader, things like that, and you have the right members that are part of that. Now, everybody's there to improve themselves, but part of the process that Toastmasters set up is the fact that you're giving evaluations. So if I give a presentation, you as a fellow member will evaluate my speech. You will let me know what it is that I did well, what it is that I can improve upon, and maybe some thoughts going forward as to what I might want to consider. That information is coming from you. You may be an experienced speaker. You may not be an experienced speaker. You may not have any clue in the world as to what about giving me comments about the topic, which is fine. It depends upon why you're giving that speech, but in and of itself, that's fine, because your role as an evaluator is to give me ideas as to how I can make that speech more effective. Now, obviously, if you're thinking over here, I give a 5-minute speech on, I don't know, on what it's like to travel to the moon. And I speak, let's assume I'm an astronaut. Right? Let's assume I really am a rocket scientist. And I talk about the intricacies of flying through outer space and the cold and the heat with the sun, all the rest of that kind of stuff, which I know absolutely nothing about. But let's assume I actually did know something about that. And I was an expert. And I gave that speech in front of my Toastmaster club, and not a soul in there has got any idea as to what I'm talking about. That's not a good speech. So my evaluator will tell me then about content, not whether or not I was right or wrong about engine propulsion, but whether or not that speech was understandable to the audience. That's important. So they'll give me comments not about the content of the speech, but whether or not that content was received by the audience, understood by the audience, and how I can improve upon that. So anybody can give any evaluation to anybody across the board. And that's really important. So if you want to try to give a technical speech to people that really don't know the information, well, you got to make sure that you know your audience, in that respect. But so I think the club members, in many respects, are more important than promoting the club members and getting the right club members inside of that club from a selfish standpoint, because I'm looking to get evaluations that are meaningful. So I look personally, you got the promoting the club. All right. So that's an obvious, right? Otherwise, we would be taking on the role of vice president of marketing either. But that's an obvious about promoting the club, promoting your business, right? So let's assume that you're part of a networking organization. Your main focus is probably your club, your group. But does it make sense for you to then go beyond that and start promoting those groups within your area? And I know many of those networking groups have got meetings that take place with other clubs. So there is a benefit to that. Realistically speaking, there is a benefit to that. Inside of Toastmasters, we get the same thing. We could visit any club. We have contests. We have other things that go on where it's more of where it can be a benefit, to everybody, especially if you want to speak in front of different audiences. And if you're part of a networking group, you want to meet different people that were possible referral partners. Different reasons, conceptually, same thing. And then there's the organization itself, the international or national organization, depending upon what you belong to, about promoting that. Does it make sense for you to do that? Yes and no. You got to figure out a couple of different things. So inside of the world of Toastmasters, I could tell you I was promoting Toastmasters to such an extent people thought I was an employee of. I was never an employee of. I'm not an employee of. I'm a member of. I'm a volunteer with them. I pay my membership dues. I get compensated by that group, for anything. I do get a couple of pins every once in a while. It's been a little while since that happened, but whatever, a little recognition. If you're part of a networking group, same kind of thing. You will benefit by meeting other people, by working with other people, by interacting with other groups. So that makes sense. But does it make sense for you to really promote that organization from a strong and long-lasting relationship? So if you're fully committed to the whole aspect of it, fully committed, and it makes sense for you to do that. So inside of Toastmasters, does it make sense for me to promote Toastmasters from a larger standpoint? The answer to that is yes. For me, it does, to a level, but yes, it does. I don't want to be seen as an employee, so I've backed away from talking about it, all the time. I used to go out to different networking groups, any place that I possibly can, to go talk about the benefits of public speaking and using Toastmasters as the example. I got an event coming up that I probably will be doing for one of the places out here on Long Island, and it's also about communication skills. So will I mention Toastmasters? Yeah, absolutely. Will I represent Toastmasters? Absolutely not. I will represent actually me doing that thing. Same holds true with those networking groups. Now you got to figure out though where it makes sense, doesn't make sense. So for me, what I have found is that there are Toastmasters throughout the world that have that attitude, is that they are constantly growing, and that's what it is that keeps me engaged, which really helps me out, and it's something that I look for, in different groups of people. But those that are really engaged with the process of constantly learning, constantly trying to become a little bit better at whatever it is that they are doing. So the people inside of Toastmasters, I think, are terrific. So that's why I look to meet different people that have been currently are members or were members. Great stuff. And you're going to meet one too. I got a guest coming up shortly. Very involved with Toastmasters, communication skills, all the rest of that kind of stuff. She's got a great story behind her too. So you'll enjoy that. You'll enjoy that interview, and we'll do that on this program. So it's the people. It's the people. So I go out there and talk about Toastmasters, yeah, because it gives me an opportunity to meet other people within the organization. So I do promote it. It's good. This way people know that I am a member of that organization. And that works. Now, your business or the networking. Let's just stay right now with the networking organization since we're there. Then we can talk about the business, maybe franchises. That's a little interesting too. The networking organization. Now, if you're a member of your local group, that networking group and you're not getting any referrals from it, you're just kind of there, not seeing great success with it, are you going to go out and promote that organization beyond the club? Absolutely not. I don't see how you would. What's your motivation to go and do that thing? But if you join that club and you join that club, that networking group for the right reason and it fits in with you, then you probably would. So there goes the issue. When I joined Toastmasters, I was looking to become a better speaker. I needed a place to practice speaking. I needed a place to do things. I was at, as Darren LaCroix says, that safe environment, where I was able to try different things. Become more demonstrative, was a thing. So, that was it. But the networking groups, same thing. Is that group the right group for you? If it is, now you have that strong and long-lasting relationship. If it's not, then you're not. You're not going to be successful in there because you'll always, in your mind, doubt whether or not you should be there or not should be there. And that doubt in your mind actually translates out into words, body language, vocal variety, all that other stuff. So you need to get rid of that doubt. And by getting rid of that doubt, that will help you grow your business. So is that group is that group, that networking group, the proper group for you? That's really the question. That's the question. And that's the question you need to ask yourself right away. Right away. Just like with Toastmasters, every club, is looking to become builders, is to help out with the public speaking, but all the members within inside of that club is different. And there's different places you could go to get coached on speaking or be involved with speaking groups without a doubt. Dale Carnegie, an excellent program in there, just as much as Toastmasters or private coaches and things like that. So your networking group, same thing, right? There are certain groups where, you very strict rules, other groups a little bit more loose. Then you got other groups that are out there that just, different events that you could go to. They're complimentary events. David Gusson, if you're on Long Island, 516-631-ADS, we'll put the plug in for David. He does an absolute great job for years and years and years, with those groups. So those groups those meetings are complimentary. Sometimes there's a lunch fee, goes along with it, but whatever. It's still complimentary membership, we'll say, part of those things. And you could sponsor it, whatever, to give yourself your equivalent of your 10-minute speech. So you sponsor one every once in a while. Go figure out the money. It winds up being same all around, and maybe you get more visibility, on that side of it. But the point is that when if you're going to a group where it's one per industry, or you're going to a group where it's one per industry, but you're able to join other groups, or you go into another group where that's not it, where there's no even question about industry. Maybe you're joining a group where it is the same industry, right? You join a marketing networking group. Marketing is such a broad definition of what is a marketing company. The podcast, that's a marketing company. Somebody else builds websites, that's a marketing company. Somebody else photography, that's a marketing company. Somebody does writing, that's a marketing company. Does it make sense for all these competing marketing companies to be inside the same group? My humble opinion is, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely does. But if you disagree with me and you are a member of that group, that doubt is going to come through. Well, I'm a member of, and yeah, and all those little soft words kind of thing. People are going to see that, and they're going to translate that into you not being that confident in your business. There lies the problem. When you're talking about the group, if that soft words, we use that term, if those soft words are what comes out, and you're a little less than enthusiastic, you're kind of sitting back a little bit more, you're a little bit more monotone when you're talking, that's not going to come across well for your business. So you got to figure out what kind of group, for you to belong to and make it work that way. You've got to understand that. Go out, interview the different groups, attend a meeting or two, speak to the people that are part of the whole thing, see what their success is. More and more of them, if not all of them, are measuring their success with the amount of sales and stuff like that. But even still on that, you got to see if it's concentrated. You know, that 80-20 rule, right? If 80% of the business is being done with 20% of the members, well, you want to be part of that 20%. Otherwise, you're just a member. And that's not going to be good. So whatever you get involved with, make sure that you are there for the right reason and it fits your personality. That is truly what builds that strong and lasting relationship. So let's get back to the business aspect of it. That business partner of yours. What really is a good business partner for you to be working with? And the way I see it, and I got a couple of really good friends that have been supportive of different efforts and stuff like that. And these are people that are straight up, full blown honest with you. You know, even if they're really good friends, or if they're really good friends, they really should be. But you got to be careful of that. Oh, they don't want to hurt you, that kind of thing. But you know what? If the relationship crosses friends' business, it's that honesty. It's that full blown honesty that really is the key to a strong and lasting relationship. Whether it's, and the same thing holds true, you know, with the Toastmaster side of things too. If you're going to tell me I'm a great speaker all the time, I'm like, really, come on, that does me no good. Like, it does me no good. If you go to a networking group all the time, they're, oh, you're the best person in the entire world, fantastic, love what you do, but nobody ever gives you business. Well, that's a waste of time. If you're hanging out, if you're got that friend business relationship thing going on over there, and they're telling you, man, you're the greatest person in the world, you got the whole thing together, and you're going no place, where is that? Where is that? You just want to be a friend, somebody to just enjoy a movie with, or just go out partying with and stuff like that, where everything's great. Okay, that's pure entertainment. Kind of equate that to different speakers too. You go to hear a speech and somebody gives you a speech and you just really enjoy that speech and it was just fun. It was a great hour. You got a chance to listen to them, or you go to a comedy show and you're just having a good time, or you go to a music event, you listen to music for that hour and then it's over. It's over. You just had a good time and there's no long lasting impact with it. That's all well and good. And that's a nice release. That's a nice out from some of the other things. But a strong relationship in a business sense where there's growth involved in the whole thing, a strong and lasting relationship is an honest one. It's an honest one. So those people you're with, those, what is it, that 5 people you're with more than anybody else, that's a reflection of you. Make sure that's an honest group of people that are really willing to be straightforward with you and give you the comments that you need to hear. That's where the growth comes in. That's a strong relationship. And that is one that will weather different storms, that'll go through the good stuff and the bad stuff. Because they're, oh, you know that trusting factor is there. That you'll be able to have that conversation. You'll be able to give them a call and say, oh my gosh, this has been like the worst week ever. You know, this is what's going on. They'll build you up as need be, but realistically do it. It's not like, oh yeah, everything's great. Come on, really? It's not that everything's always great, and everything's not always great. There are different challenges we all face, without a doubt. Different frustrations we all face, without a doubt. But there are also different opportunities out there. So if you're with that right group, if you're with the right people, if you're with the right folks that are helping you through those tough times, they're going to help you highlight those opportunities that come from those tough times. Like, we all join different groups, organizations, business partners, companies, even dating, right? Marriages, they're all, it's a two-way street. There's benefits. There's definitely benefits. There's different growth. It happens. But if that honesty is not there right from the beginning, if that real feeling of trust is not there from the beginning, when things go bad, breakups happen. Oh, it's easy when everything's going great the whole way through, but when bad things happen, when those challenges come up, that's where really the rubber hits the road. That's where it really makes a difference as to whether or not you have a good, strong, and lasting relationship. And when those things happen, and invariably it will. That's where the relationship gets even better. It's when you're both able to, or you and the organization, or you and your business partner, you and your employees are able to get through it and continue on. And you've seen it. You've seen a lot of these businesses that have made their way through the last couple of years through different changes. Those that are strong and made it through because of that strength, they're going to be even better going forward. And I definitely think that that is going to be the case over here with a lot of the other things that are going on. There's a lot of things that are going on that are challenging, super challenging. But I do think that the good will win. The brightness of the whole thing will will take over and knock down the darkness, that's out there. Those are the people I want to be around. Let's make things happen, right? Keep sharing the good stuff. Find that long and trusting relationship as you are going through your situations and make it work that way. That's key, right? There you're at. All right, there we go. So that's today's Tomato Talk, top of the mind, advancing through obstacles. My name is Brian Cohen. Thank you for joining me. And remember, do what you do best. Speak well, speak often, and live inspired. Now we'll get a little tomato music going on here. All right, Tomato Maestro, here we go.